What time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, he's back from the dead. Your show. Putting it on the map, yeah. Saskatoon. Right next to New York. New York. Yeah, what show, yeah. Your show. What time is it? Your show. Yeah, time to talk some shit, yeah. Your show.
You've tuned in, yeah?
Yeah, fun Maggie. Bark, bark, wolf, wolf, who wants a treat, yeah? Keep listening.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of Your Show. Sorry, I've got to do a Gary impression. You know, I had to. Even though Gary says it's your show and meaning my show. For those of you who are a little more perceptive, you've probably noticed things look a little bit different today. Gary is away. I don't know, where's he at? He's at some draft golf tournament. He was saying it's like some sports draft, but then like they play golf, and if they do better in the golf, they get more money for the draft. I don't know. It's something that, you know, sounds like something Gary would be interested in, but not something I would be interested in too much. Anyway, I was looking at this before the show. Gary has done 104 episodes of Your Show without stopping. That is insane. When you think about 104 episodes, 5 days a week, pretty much except for stat holidays, that's impressive. 104 episodes. So this is episode 105 of Your Show, and we have to kick it off, as we always do around here, with the Maggie Cam. It took quite a bit of work for me to get her here. She doesn't want to listen to me the same way she wants to listen to Gary. But for our friends over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, what are their names? I listen to this, every day, and yet I still can't remember what their names are because I don't have a pet, unfortunately, so I don't have much need to go there. But if I did have a pet, I would be going to Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer. So, business things. The Elmwood Fall Feast is happening September 19th at Prairieland Park. You can find out more at Elmwood YXC. I know that one is very important to us over here at the Dufferin Avenue Media Network. We like to support the community, and these are the kind of things that make doing a show like this make it have a good impact on the community around us. So you can see the banner right down there, Elmwood Fall Feast. You can check them out, elmwoodyxc.ca for your tickets. Yeah, it's a great thing. So I had a guy stop by earlier today, and you've heard him before here on Your Show, and he stops by every Thursday. And is Matt Young from CTV. And he's very knowledgeable when it comes to gaming and that kind of stuff. And for the last couple weeks, they've been running a series where he's showing people how upkeep and maintenance for their older consoles. And it sounds like they're going to be moving into some newer consoles as the weeks progress. But this week it was the Super Nintendo controller and how to take it apart and all and clean it, which it's an awesome thing to know. So we're going to go ahead and run that previously recorded segment now. All right, I am here with Matt Young, CTV's Matt Young.
There you go. All right, in the house.
This is kind of a first.
Yeah.
First time you're doing this with someone other than Gary. First time we're doing any of this without Gary. So,
hey, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
Gary's somewhere in this room here. You just can't see him.
Yeah. Previously recorded segment. So I'm told that we're doing a video game controller cleaning and upkeep segment.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we got her. Do you play video games?
I do. A lot.
Do you have old video game systems?
I do have some, yes.
Oh, cool.
My dad has a lot. So.
Oh, nice.
I wouldn't say I have them, but the family has access to them.
Well, you and your dad are going to enjoy this because this is great. We've been doing, for the last number of weeks, we've been doing a series on how to preserve and maintain your old video game systems. So a number of weeks ago, we talked about Sega Genesis, how to take apart the controller, because usually it's the controllers that start to go on these systems, right? So have you played a Nintendo 64 before? Yes. Right, so you know that joystick always starts to fail after a little while. We sort of worked out a way and showed people how you can make your joystick joystick in your Nintendo 64 controller last a long time. Well, now we're going to
Will
look
that
at
work for newer ones? Like, like my Xbox controller.
the
often
one.
gets drift.
Well, it's a little bit different for
It's different,
Nintendo
okay.
64 versus Xbox, and we'll do an Xbox one day
for
too.
sure.
But today we're going to look at Super Nintendo. Do you remember Super Nintendo?
I mean, I've used it, but it's not from my time. Let's say that way.
Well, it's from mine, and Super Nintendo. I mean, that's when you started seeing the stuff like Madden and the NHL series started on that. So, and one thing about Super Nintendo, the systems work pretty well, but the controllers, they can always get a little sticky and dirty and that sort of thing. So we're going to show you how to maintain your Super Nintendo controllers, and it's actually quite easy. You don't need to be sort of somebody who's a rocket scientist or a professional electrician to do this. It's real simple. So I have a Super Nintendo controller right here, okay? And we're going to show you exactly how to take it apart and how to what to do, what parts are in there, and how to clean it, right?
Cool.
Because we want these things to last.
Well,
right?
especially since they don't make them anymore.
Well,
so they
that's
gotta
exactly
make 'em
right. They're
last.
very hard to get. You go to game stores and the price of them is starting to go up
Yeah.
because and especially if you can find one that works, that's even better, right? But a lot of them, they're a little bit wonky. So what we're gonna do is this is a Super Nintendo controller right here. You can see it, okay? And it's your basic Super Nintendo controller. And right here, I got a little bit of water. I got a little cloth here, and there's some other tools that you can get that you buy at your local Shoppers Drug Mart that will help you do this. So this is a Super Nintendo controller, and on the back, okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. You can just take those screws out, okay, and the back plating here, I'm just gonna, this one I might have to loosen a little bit more. There we go. Okay, the back plating here just comes right off. Okay.
So you already had the screws out before.
Yeah, I've pre-loosened some of these
good.
screws here, and you just use a normal screwdriver to do. You take the screws out, and your back comes off, and here's what you have for your Super Nintendo controller. Okay. So now, if we were to look at it, this board, this printed circuit board right here. Okay. The buttons are on the other side. Okay. And what we also have is we have your L button and R button that sit kind of right in this little pocket here. Okay, we can take those out. So that's your L and R button. We'll put those right there. Okay, and then if we lift this wire out, okay, and it just lifts out. It's not really attached. It's sort of stuffed in there. You'll see that this little board just comes out like so. Okay, and you have the printed circuit board for your controller. Okay, now what happens is as you and I both know, when you play video games, you often got the pizza sometimes,
Yep.
or you got the nachos, right, or what have you, and grease gets in the controller and it gets on this printed circuit board. Okay, well, typically what you want to do is if you ever feel your buttons are getting sticky or they're not responsive on a Super Nintendo controller, what you want to do, Adam, is you basically just want to try and clean this. And there's a product you can get called isopropyl. You can buy it at Shoppers Drug Mart or any place like that for I think it's $6 or $8. And what you can do is you just take a little toothbrush and spray some isopropyl on it, and then you'll take it and just kind of gently clean the surface of this. Okay, it really doesn't take much. Okay, because you want to get some of the maybe grease or powder or anything like that can get in there, cleaned off that printed circuit board, so that when you press the buttons, you're making good contact and everything like that. So that's the first thing that you'll want to do.
Make sure it's a soft toothbrush.
Yeah, make sure it's a soft toothbrush. You don't want to press down too hard. That's a good point right there. You don't want to use any like a wire bristle brush. I usually want to use something small like a toothbrush, and you just be quite gentle. Now, here's the other part of the controller right here, and you can see that right here, this sort of maroon colored rubber pad is pressed up against your D-pad. This right here, you can see the black rubber pad there. That's your start and select button. And right here is your A, B, X, Y button. This is the green thing. And if you to take this off, okay, what you'll see is you have these little rubber pads here. That's what's actually making contact with the printed circuit board when you press a button on your controller, okay? And so what I do is I take these off, and what you want to do is I just use a little bit of isopropyl, but sometimes I just dip them and let them soak in there for a little while in some water. Lukewarm water, because you want to get these clean, because what happens is grease gets on this part right here, these little black notches, okay, and when you press the button, those black notches may not make good contact with the printed circuit board that you also just cleaned.
Yep.
You want to clean everything.
Yep.
So what you do is I use some isopropyl, spray it on, get a toothbrush, clean it, and then I clean it in water, and that cleans kind of the whole thing because you get, again, grease and powder in there and everything like that, right? Now, you can let those sit in there, and I usually let them sit in there for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you grab them, take the toothbrush, and then just slowly clean it off, right? And then what you'll do is once you do all of them, and I gotta find that other one. Is there another one? Oh no, that's it, I think. Oh yeah, I have the start and select button right here. Yep. Okay, put that in there. And once you have them all cleaned off, okay, and I've kind of pre-done these just a little bit, yep. You know, take them, and I just usually take a cloth, and I just dry them off, right? That's all you got to do. You want to make sure that they're nice and dry. You definitely don't want any water getting in your Super Nintendo controller, because if you have that happen, that's a problem. Water and electricity, as we know, Adam, they do not mix, right? So what you want to do is you want to dry these off nice and well, okay? So what you've done is you've used isopropyl to kind of clean off the black little notches here, right? Yep. And to clean off these rubber pads. You've used the isopropyl to clean off the printed circuit board. And then the last thing you have is the actual buttons themselves, right? And these are the plastic buttons, okay, that if I'm on the back side, I would obviously be pressing them, right? And this is your D-pad right here, this little gray one. You can see it's kind of moving there, okay? You also want to take these and just see if there's any, like, you know, again, grease or kind of crud that gets in there, right? And you want to clean those off. Gaming gunk. That's what we'll call it from now. Good word. I like the terminology. Gaming gunk, right? So, and then once you're done cleaning those off, you can just put them right back, and they only fit in one way. Yeah. Okay, they only fit in one way.
You can't do it wrong.
You can't really do it wrong. No. Eventually, you'll figure it out, right? Yeah. And same thing with the D-pad here. This is your D-pad, your up, down, left, right pad. Again, if that's dirty, you want to clean that off, and then you put it right in there.
And we can just soak those in the water.
And you can just soak these in water, right? You soak them in water. You can, and again, you just clean them with a toothbrush, right? And things like that. And you want to keep everything clean. So now that you've cleaned it, well, how do you put it back together? Well, it's pretty simple, okay? So you got your your rubber pads here that kind of go underneath, and you just put it. There's only one way it can go. There's a little notch. Yeah. It's going to be, I'll grab my screwdriver so you can point it out. This little notch right here, okay? It just kind of sits on a little peg there. Then you have your start and select button. Well, that's only going to fit in one way, okay? So you put that in there, and then you have your X, Y, and A, B cover pad, okay? And that just sits in there just like this, okay? And again, there's two little, see if you can pick them up on camera. I think you can. A notch here and a notch there that you're going to want to set this in, and then it's pretty much ready to go, right? Then you have your L and R button, okay? And the L and R buttons, you know, they basically sit in a little, I want to say a little holder like this. And you put a pin in, and then this would be, oh, that'd be the L button. I can put that. I want to make sure we have it on the right side. And by the way, there's actually a little R and an L engraved on the controller. You can't really see it, so you know which way to put the R button in there and the L button in there. So this one's the R, so it's going to go in just like that. And there's a little clasp that it kind of hangs on. Boom. Okay. So we have the R button in there. Then we take the L button, we put the L button in there, and then, again, there's a little clasp here, it sticks in this hole, right, and then the L button with its little hinge slides right onto that, right, so your L and R, and then you put the printed circuit board back in. You don't want to touch it too much, obviously, with the isopropyl or anything on there, and the way how I usually do this is you try to, it's a little tricky, but you gotta try to line it up with, and I'm hoping I'm catching this on camera pretty good here, because the wire kind of has to stick in there too. Let's see if I can get that there. It's gonna be a little too, it might be a little too, there you go. I want to slide this right on here.
Isn't it upside down?
Oh, whoops. No, it's got to go this way. Ha, there you go. See? Even the pros can make a mistake. So you want to take this, and you slide it in just like there, and because it'll only kind of go in one way. That's the nice thing about these things. There, just like that.
Yeah, so if it's not going easily, then
there you
back
go.
up and
There
see
you go.
what
There
you're
you go. And what you do is you line it up. There's these little screw holes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those little screw holes there, right? You want those to be lined up perfectly, okay? Right? And then once we have your backing done, I got a little bit of water. And by the way, it's not a bad thing to clean out these as well. Okay, it's not a bad thing to clean out those because you can also get like powder or dust or anything like that inside the backing plate as well. These little wires just kind of wrap around these little posts here. I'm going to do that for you right now. Okay, so do you see that? The wire kind of goes and it wraps around, right?
So that takes
Like
the
a little
tension off
S.
the actual
That's exactly right.
connections there on the
That's
wire.
exactly right. And then you just take this and take your backing plate and put it right on, and now you have a nice clean Super Nintendo with, like, you can hear the click of those
you
buttons.
can hear that's already better.
Right. So you have a nice clean Super Nintendo controller with an L and R button, an A, B, and X, Y buttons that will last you a lot longer, and it'll also be better playing. Right,
Yeah,
because
so then you don't have that as an excuse for why you're not playing so
I mean,
good.
you know what? I lost in Bomberman because my Nintendo controller wasn't as good. Well, guess what? You can't use that excuse anymore. Then you just put the screws back in there, and you're ready to go. So again, you can do this usually in about an hour. It doesn't take much, and I always say, an hour of maintenance a day keeps you away from having to try and find another controller, right?
Yeah, I mean, how often would you say you would have to do this?
I would say you'd probably do this every couple years. Okay. Right? Because stuff can lie around and collect dust, but usually every couple of years, and you'll find that really, the maintenance isn't too difficult, and you'll find that if you ever decide at some point to sell your system, if you have good controllers, people will buy it, right? Because that's the whole thing. Like the biggest thing about gaming system is the controllers they wear out.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So so what you want is you want to make sure that your controllers are good, and so now with a little some basic tools, right? This is a screwdriver. You can get some water, isopropyl. I didn't bring it with me, but you can get it at a lot of drugstores for real cheap. And a little toothbrush, and just be careful and gently clean your Super Nintendo controller. You will find that it lasts a lot longer, and there's a lot more gaming, right?
Yeah.
So there you go, all done in a bit of a snap.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue doing this with other video game systems and other controllers, and we'll look at Xbox and PlayStation 5. I think we'll work our way from the old to the new.
Yeah.
Exactly. So so there you have it. And you know what? These tips, hey, I mean, they're little things that you can do. Yeah. And also, hey, I've had even the odd person. I'll give you $10. Can you fix my controller for me? See, maybe make a little money on the side there as well. Yeah. So happy gaming to everybody. And next week we're gonna bring in another system, another controller, and I've said also older gaming systems, you'll find that they turn yellow after a while. Yes. Yeah. There is a way to actually make them go back to that nice gray color that everybody likes. And we're going to show you that in a couple of weeks as well.
Yes, I'm definitely going to be watching that.
There you go.
Yeah, I appreciate you showing us how to do this. It's awesome. I think it's super useful for everybody who has a little system. I think, like you say, just a little bit of maintenance, and it's going to increase the value. It's going to increase the playability. And this is awesome. My first time doing a pre-tape with you, so it's great to meet you.
Great to be here with you. This is awesome. Fantastic. It's great. And I love the fact that you're a gamer. And whether, by the way, it doesn't have to be old games. Whether it's old games or new games, you want to maintain your stuff because nothing's going to last forever, right? And you want to maintain your stuff. And that's why, we thought this would be a great series. And we're going to get into games and cartridges. There's a way that you can make it so you don't have to blow on the cartridge every single time. We've all had to do that. Have you had to do that?
I used to. I remember one of my cousins used to play PlayStation.
There you
He gave
go.
me his PlayStation 2. or some of his games for it
Yeah.
actually. But when we would play it at his house and the disc wouldn't work, he would just set it in the toilet and flush the toilet. Of course, it doesn't go down because it's a disc. But
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do
that's
that.
not the method we recommend.
But no, this is probably I'm sure you probably have some methods for cleaning a CD.
Yeah,
or something if they were causing issues.
there's stuff like that, and maybe we'll take apart a PS5 one day. We can show you what's in it, and it's all about just keeping the dust out of there and that sort of thing. And you'll be gaming longer, gaming smarter, and having a lot more fun at the same time.
Yeah. All right, Matt Young, everybody. You know, one of the things that's great about being here by myself, meaning Gary isn't here. I can talk about a certain two topics in particular that Gary probably wouldn't approve of. And that's politics and religion. So, now that I've sufficiently given Gary a heart attack, if he's watching, I think I'm going to talk about two new shows dropping today. Well, not new shows, two new episodes of existing shows dropping today. So we got the Angle of Attack. Ah, my pilot brain is coming out here. AOA on my sheet here. I got my notes. AOA does not stand for Angle of Attack in this case. AOA stands for All Outta Angst Podcast. It is an audio only podcast with Matt Young from all the band. No, Matt Young was who we had the pre-tape with. Matt Cuthbertson. Boy, Gary's never gonna let me do this again. Matt Cuthbertson from all the bands. Uncle Mike from all his natural products, and of course Gary. I was listening in on the last recording session, and it is a fantastic show. If you want to just hear him talking about punk rock, and I've always been interested in that kind of music, and I've always enjoyed listening to it, but I've never really heard all the stories, and they've been in that scene for a lot longer than I have, and it's awesome to hear all the stories and just the little knowledge and things that they remember. So check out the All Outta Angst podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your audio podcasts. And the other show is the Dude Podcast. This one's a little bit newer, but it's kind of a quick edited together with, so just all the jokes just kind of run really quick together. So if you're in the mood for some Coach Amazier comedy, with his kind of toned down kind of comedy style, but you don't have a lot of time, then this is the perfect show. So that is dropping today as well. And there's a guy around here. We got Dragon on the ones and twos, and he and I have a show called The Viewing Room that drops on Tuesdays, so you can check that out on the Dufferin Avenue Media Network and all of our platforms. It's audio only, as well as video podcasts here on YouTube. And we just review movies and whatnot. But he's here with me today, so I'm going to have him come up, and we're going to talk about some current events. That's what I'll say. Current events, yeah. Come on. Get up here. And this is why I said we could talk about politics and religion. Can you walk up music? No, I can't sing you walk-up music. I don't know how it goes. By that point, I faded it out usually.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Did you turn that mic on?
I did. Yeah. Sure. We'll check it out in the recording.
Well,
This was good.
if you didn't, then yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do here.
It's quiet here. We got
It
the place
is,
to
right?
ourselves. I feel
know.
like there's cobwebs in the corner.
Yeah,
without Gary
I'm
here.
used to having people and and Gary's lively presence,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's one thing. Gary has a presence, and
Right.
it's missing when he's not here.
That's okay. We make our own presence now
Yeah, we do.
on our own, and I guess we want to talk about the viewing room for a bit.
Gary, I will say that now we're going to be the only presence around here. I changed all the locks while you were gone, so
Yeah, we have the only key
you,
now.
you can't get in. So.
Yeah, your show.
It's just
our show.
Well, he kept telling me like it's your show. You can do whatever you want on this show. So I did what I wanted. So yeah, we stole Maggie and we stole stole a studio.
We outsourced the show too. This is at my house right now. We rebuilt the studio
Yeah, exactly.
in my house. Yeah,
We just moved everything in the space of an afternoon.
yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So
You want to
Viewing room.
talk?
what's new and coming up with Viewing Room?
Okay, well, we just
What's the
released
exciting things?
Happy Gilmore.
Yes. Yes.
Great episode that I haven't watched yet, but I'm planning on watching. I was gonna watch it yesterday, and then I got home and I saw the roast of Tom Brady on my Netflix recommended, and I said, "Sorry, Adam, I'm gonna have to watch this instead." So I finished that today.
It's a great thing about YouTube. You can watch it anytime.
Yeah, exactly. So I haven't seen it yet, but I know it's good because I was there. It's a great episode, and your lovely dad produced it for us.
Yes. Big B.
Big B. Yeah, I don't know. That was a good experience. We got Wayne's World coming up. Coliseum Presents.
Yeah,
Friday night.
Yeah, that's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow. Friday.
yeah.
Oh man, it's.
I know. I did the same thing earlier, right?
Whew, man.
Coliseum has a bunch of stuff coming up. I gotta talk to Aaron about these.
Yeah.
We got Wayne's World tomorrow at the Roxy at 7.
Yeah.
We got Moulin Rouge, September 18th at Broadway, 7 p.m. All of their shows at 7 p.m. I'm just gonna say that. And then we have Batman. I want you to guess which Batman. Which Batman do you think?
The
it
Michael
is?
Keaton Batman. Yes, I knew it. That would be the only one.
You scared Maggie.
Oh, I'm sorry, Maggie. Oh, hi.
Oh, now
that's
she cooks
so
for
awesome.
beds.
Can you see the head? Yeah.
There she is.
That's hilarious.
She can smell the treats. Hi.
We just finished recording another episode. Was that yesterday? 2 days? Yes, that was yesterday. We recorded an episode yesterday. We talked about Despicable Me 4.
It was whenever it was in the last couple of days. We went
Yeah,
we
and
went
that'll be
saw
coming out in a few
Despicable Me.
weeks.
So yeah, it's got the 1989. They've got the 1989 Batman at the Roxy, September 21st.
Nice.
And then October 5th at the Roxy, we got Ghostbusters, the original.
That's good.
I'm gonna like that.
That's huge. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then October 15th. Did I just say that?
It's October 5th, I think.
Yeah, October 15th is The Labyrinth
Okay.
at Broadway.
I haven't seen that one before.
I haven't either. And then lastly, we got The Shining, October.
Oh, that's
25th.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, Roxy.
That's a
7
bit of a
p.m.
longer one to play, actually, at the
Yeah,
theater.
I'm,
eh?
I'm surprised that they're going to do that one as a theater, but
that's-
they're all
that's
gonna be
good.
Yeah.
I'm
so
excited.
we will be at most of those events. I'm assuming. I got to check my schedule, but I'm planning to be at most of those. We will probably be there.
Yeah. We will see you at Wayne's World tomorrow
Yes,
night.
tomorrow night. And so you'll also then hear or see our reviews afterwards.
Yep. Which I think is a great segue into if you want to see our reviews early. We now have a Patreon.
We're not releasing them early on there.
We're not releasing them early on the Patreon, but
That's
you
a
can
good idea, though.
support
But you can
us
support. We
on
have
on the Patreon.
we have the damn Patreon as a whole. If you say it doesn't say damn, it says your show. So if you buy the your show Patreon, then that's all supports all of damn. So that's one of the ways that you can support us, because I know we've had lots of like particularly family members, but other people reach out and say, I want to support you guys. I like what you're doing, but you know I'm not an advertiser. But speaking of which, DufferinAve.com if you are an advertiser. If you weren't up here with me, then we'd have the thingy-majiggy.
right
would
the
go right-
Dufferinav.com.
Yeah, it would be like right here. 'Cause it'd be like somewhere in here.
Yeah. Anyways,
Somewhere like that.
we got a website. You can go check out the advertising and stuff.
Yes.
Or
if you want to if you want to be a show, you want to host a show, you have an idea for a show, check us out at DufferinAve.com.
yeah, and we've talked about this before, but the best way to join our network and communicate with us and just have a good time is just keep watching the shows, keep commenting, keep telling us what you like, and the Patreon is obviously something we welcome. But if you can't make that work or it just doesn't suit you, just having your support and you watching this right now is exactly what makes
Viewing,
us
honestly, viewing is the easiest
happy.
thing that you can do. Watching the content, and enjoying it.
Yeah, and tell your friends, right? But yeah, so no pressure with that, but we do have that as an option now, and you'll find the link in the description.
Yes. Good. Current movies. That's what I want to talk to you about. Current movies.
You know me. I'm gonna get fired up with this one.
What are you looking at?
Okay, well,
What's new?
First of all, this month for movies is gonna be pretty good, I think. Like Speak No Evil. That movie's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it looks very interesting.
Transformers 1. I wasn't super interested in it, and then I saw the cast, and I was like, got more interested in it. Like, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Steve Buscemi. I was like, Keegan-Michael Key, right?
Yeah.
Great cast. So I was like, I think my buddies want to go see it, so I'll go see that one. Wolves, Brad Pitt and George Clooney. That movie looks like it's gonna be pretty good, although critics not really liking it so much. I think I had like a 60% from what I saw. So
Well,
we'll
if you've
see where
watched the
it's at.
viewing room, you know we talk a lot about how the critics don't mean everything.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to that movie for a bit, but I think it's playing downtown. I think is the only theater right now playing that. And then there is the Reagan documentary,
I'm really
biopic that
interested in watching that one.
we talked about. I know nothing about
Dennis
it.
Quaid plays Reagan in that one.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen, he does a good job. And I watched him on a podcast or an interview or something, and he was talking about taking on that role. And I think he did a really good job of like, researching it. And,
Yeah, well, I know
So-
nothing about it, so I'll maybe go
we
in
got to
with
talk
that.
about politics here.
Yeah, well.
What do you think of Reagan's policies?
Yeah, we'll go to the next one. Maybe we get into our own little bit of politics though, because I know we just talked about maybe 30 minutes ago, like the Minecraft movie.
Yes, and I told you we got to save this for the show.
Man.
I think you and I are pretty much on the same page on this one.
Okay. Well, I'll maybe give a bit of a backstory.
Yeah.
So, Minecraft, as a video game, one of the most probably number 2 most selling video game of all time. I
It's
think
pretty close.
2 or
It's up
3.
there, yeah.
Fantastic game. I've been playing it since I think I was 10 or 11.
I'm playing it since I was like, 5 maybe.
It has not been out.
I don't know. I've been playing it since I could play it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had it on an old PC.
Yeah, fantastic game, one of my favorite games of all time. And it's getting a movie starring Jack Black, Jason Momoa, a few other people. But this is like my favorite game of all time. And
Yeah.
Warner Bros. Is making it, and they released the trailer yesterday morning. And man, I hate taking a cynical approach to things, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look fantastic.
No,
like,
it doesn't.
and I'm really hoping that it comes through
Well,
and
certain
stuff.
parts of it look fantastic. You and I were both. You were commenting, and I was thinking the world that they've
Yeah.
managed to build looks amazing.
The
Like,
world
I-
looks
I-
fantastic.
It looks like when you're, testing out a high-end computer and you put fancy shaders.
They
on,
literally
right?
just put ray tracing on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It looks great, except from they put real people into this animated
Yes,
video
I
game,
hate that.
and it just doesn't blend together.
Yeah.
And so it's really tough to stay focused. And then they gave it the plot of Jumanji in the trailer,
Yeah, no.
which is unfortunate because they reused a trope. And then Jack Black plays Steve, and gosh, I love Jack Black, and
Jack
he'll
Black's
probably
awesome.
save the whole thing. But they just put Jack Black in a T-shirt and called him the main character of the video game.
Yeah.
And I just I don't know. I really hope it turns out great. And you know what? It's a teaser trailer. There's going to be more trailers. It comes out next year, and they'll probably do tweaks and stuff. So I'm not going to be too critical of it. But yeah, I was so excited for this movie since 2014. I remember being a little kid, and 10 years ago, and I heard this thing about the Minecraft movie, and I saw a teaser on YouTube. It was obviously fake. And I was like, oh, this is so hype. This is awesome. But turns out, yeah, they've been working on it for a number of years,
Yeah.
and they're finally kind of ready to show us what it's about. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of that excitement kind of turned into a little bit of criticism for me yesterday. And, I hated to admit that, right? But hopefully, the pushback kind of change some things. And
Yeah.
you know what? I'm not going to actually judge it until I sit down at the theater and watch
that's
the
thing
movie.
You got to
but-
remember, a trailer is not the movie. So you
Right.
might not like the trailer, but the movie could be great. I mean,
Right.
so you're right. But
There's just a lot of things that
there's
didn't work.
there's a lot
for
of
me.
things though that are also indicative of the movie. I mean, they're not going to
Right.
all of a sudden have cartoon characters in the movie unless something goes
Right.
wrong.
Well, I think the common example is the Sonic movie. If you've ever seen the Sonic movie, you remember the original picture they had of Sonic and the
Yeah.
weird eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the studio got so many hate comments. Was it Warner Bros. That did that movie too? I don't know. One
It
of the
might have
studios.
been, I don't remember.
And they actually went in and redid all the CGI on Sonic. And then re-released the movie, and everyone loved it. And it was like, oh my gosh! And now Sonic movie is getting
Yeah.
a third movie. People were like, let's boycott the Sonic movie. We're not going to see it. They went back in, changed the animation, pumped out, and now the third movie's on the way, starring Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Right? Crazy. And I don't know. Will they do that this time? And now they'll make it fully animated. Then you're like, okay, but are we wasting some of that star power? Because we've thrown in Jack Black, Jason Momoa. We have massive star power. We have Aquaman and Bowser, right? In the same.
I like how you know it from Bowser.
Well, I'm just using Jack Black. I could say School of Rock, but I don't think other people would appreciate that as much. But I just think, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they're gonna double down on this decision or if maybe some tweaks are made. But we'll see what happens when we get there. But that's kind of what I've been seeing right now in terms of movies coming out, and obviously the Wicked movie coming out.
Yeah,
that honestly looks great.
I have mixed feelings on that.
You have mixed feelings. I honestly, not a huge Disney like whatever Wizard of Oz fan. Not huge. That movie actually, I think, looks pretty good.
Yeah, but it's completely mixing up the storyline.
Well,
Of Wizard of Oz.
it's the era of multiverse is what we'll call it.
I guess, but like, I mean, I don't know the story of Wicked like at all.
Right.
Like, I think I've watched it once, maybe, or read the book or something. I don't remember.
Sure.
But like, I don't like it when they create an alternate reality like that. I find that, like, I mean, in my opinion, if you can't come up with or if you need to come up with an original story, but using pre-created characters or pre-existing characters, then it's not. Then like that's not a smart move. I think that you need to.
Well, I'd say they're at least trying to make an original story, so that gives it some
But
credibility.
it is. That's my point, though. But like, they're using an original story, but it's new. It's the same characters.
Sure.
And I don't like that because you already have thoughts about those characters, and all of a sudden you have to, like, I mean, Wicked, the witch is the witch. She's a witch. You know,
Right, she's framed as evil, but
she's the evil witch. But
when you
like,
watch this movie, it looks like they're trying to make her
exactly
a good guy that you sympathize with, right? But then subvert your expectations, and then you almost feel like an ass for not liking her in the first place, because you weren't given all the information.
Yes.
So it's like, shame on you. But it's like the studio didn't provide me with that information to begin with,
exactly
right? So maybe we'll see how it turns out. I guess I can see where you're coming
so that's
from.
where I just would like, if you want an original story, create original characters. You
Right.
know, if you can create a good original story, you can create good original characters. So that's where I'm figuring out. Sure.
The Wild Robots coming out.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I've not heard of that series before, but I
Read
have
the
to
book.
say that trailer makes me want to watch the first one.
Yeah.
And read the books, and then we'll go watch that one. It looks really, really good.
Yeah, I think that one's good too. I'm kind of drawing a blank on what other stuff is happening, but I feel like there's a lot coming out, and like I said, September is a good month. This whole year has been a
It's
great
been
year for
pretty good
movies.
Yeah.
You know, Twister and Deadpool. Leading up June there or July, sorry, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're still playing in the theaters and stuff, and we saw Despicable Me 4.
Despicable Me 4.
Obviously, that one maybe wasn't as crazy, but
It had some issues, but overall,
we did just talk about how it did profit over $800 million. So, it's been, Inside Out 2 also ending
apparently
that.
did really well. I haven't seen it yet,
Yeah,
but
over the billion mark, right? Like one of the highest
Great.
grossing animated films of all time. So it's like, it's
Yeah.
been a good year for movies. People are going back to the theater and seeing things. And I think that's a really good sign that, things are
things
happening
looking
right
up
now.
for sure. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm super excited. I know Venom's coming out, I guess, too. Sometime
Yeah.
October, November. I've liked the Venom movies, and I'm excited about that. But yeah,
Venom's good. Venom's a good character. I think
yeah.
it's a
Tom
really-
Hardy does a pretty
He
damn
does.
good job, I'd say.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of superhero, I was looking at the news before this,
Sure.
and Joaquin Phoenix announced that Joker 2 would be his last movie.
What? That's insane. Oscar-winning actor.
Probably. He said probably.
But, that's not happening because then Joker
but
3 comes out in 2 years.
I
and
don't know.
even.
I feel like
And Lady
with
Gaga
him,
wants to do it again. Don't
I feel
even.
like with him. I mean,
Aw.
look at his method acting. The guy's freaking insane. He can't keep that up.
Well, you can go play Steve in the Minecraft movie. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, but with
Like-
his method acting, he's gonna get surgery to make his face a square.
Oh man, that's terrifying. But I don't know. That's shocking. When did he say that? And
I
where?
didn't look at it. It was in the last page.
Oh yeah, like the Onion posted it.
It probably was. if I'm
Yeah,
being
yeah.
honest. I didn't vet my news source.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Apparently got like a 12-minute standing ovation at the one film festival, which I think is like kind of crazy. It's a little cheesy.
It is, yeah. 12 minutes of standing. clap.
And clapping. Like I don't know, like a standing ovation's good, and like obviously you deserve it, but like I don't know. I don't know why we have as like a society clapping competitions. Like the longer we clap,
that is something
equates
that I
to more
find
success,
so weird about
right?
like when you're performing, like the way it was always taught to me when you're performing is that clapping is a way of saying thank you for something. Like thank
Yeah.
you did well, right? But like, and then as a performer, your bow is like your way of saying thank you to the audience, thank you for coming, but like,
Sure.
I think that when you what am I trying to say here? I mean, from an audience perspective, it's annoying, or a performer perspective, it's really annoying when
Sure.
people just keep on clapping.
Right.
Like, and so, yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No, it's fair. Like we talk all the time too about like, if you screen a film and you show it, and you have a round of applause and people are standing up and clapping, that's an incredible feeling, right?
Yes.
Now, does it take away if it's a 3-minute standing ovation compared to a 12-minute?
Yeah, right.
I just don't.
The standing O is the important thing, and if you at a certain point you get more, like it's like, why?
Right. But I mean, hey, congratulations, good to them.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it, and I think it's going to be a great film.
Were they just clapping because they had nothing better to do? Maybe.
They were all really excited to go home
I
because
know,
that was
hey,
the
we're
last,
going home.
that was the last
Yeah,
screening of the
that was the
day.
last one.
Yeah. But we'll see. Anyways, I'm excited for it. I can't believe, Walking Phoenix is saying goodbye to acting. Then I guess is that
I don't know.
wow. Well, we better fact check that because that's gonna be
Let me
really.
let me do it.
Yeah,
See if I can
that
find
would
it.
be shocking. Wow.
Oh, how do you spell his name? That's what's taking so long.
Is it Walking with a J? It's Walking with a J. Yeah. Well, actually, I think something like the Joker is the only superhero character to win 2 Oscars or something like that, or 3 or something like that.
There you go.
Heath
Look at that.
Ledger, Walking Phoenix,
Yeah.
Oscars. George Schumark's movie career lasts for Walking Phoenix, who says, that's it for me. 49-year-old, I probably shouldn't do this again. Why is your phone such a high frame rate? That's insane.
Because it's a new phone. Because my old one was not working properly.
Wow, he lost 52 pounds for the
Yeah,
first movie. That's
I know, right?
insane.
Like, see, that's
Eating
what I mean. Like with his
steamed
method
vegetables.
acting, he is. I mean, he's a great actor.
Fantastic.
But like, I can see why when he's that into a character, and at a certain point, that's dangerous, really.
Well, yeah, it does. I think it does promote this kind of like toxic mental health kind of area to be
Yeah.
in because, you're so invested in playing this role of someone who's just messed up.
Yes.
Like I heard the story of him like just punching a clock off a wall, like just unscripted and stuff because he wanted to, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just things like that, right? And you hear your stories of like someone like Leonardo DiCaprio, right? In Django Unchained when he like smashed his hand on the table and his hand's bleeding, right? Because he hit the glass and they left that in and he acted.
I know,
he
right?
acted.
Yes.
He acted through that, right?
Yeah.
A real thing, right? So I don't know. I feel like when you commit to a role that hard, that's that taxing on your mind, there is a little bit of a breaking point, and it's very easy for that to be an issue, and I can see how it's hard to slip out of that area. But yeah, I hope it's not the full end for him. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. I mean, I hope he still does something, but like probably good for him to end it.
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, or like do some more roles that aren't so focused on like more mental health and
Yeah.
and
Ones that maybe aren't quite as much method acting, but just more like
yeah,
you
exactly.
can be a
You're-
little more yourself.
jump in the
almost.
voice acting booth for
Yeah.
a bit, try something like that,
Yeah.
or voice a cartoon, right? And do a fun character that's not like, why so serious? you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. That's crazy news.
Now there is something to be said for being into the character and playing through things like Leo did there with that Django scene, or like I'm gonna put on my Lord of the Rings nerd, and anytime you
he's
ever
gonna talk about
watch Lord of the
Aragorn
Rings, Aragorn
kicking
kicks
the helmet, and he's
and
gonna
he
break
breaks
his
his
toe.
So that scream was actually real.
I can feel your spit on my hand.
Yeah, no, but like it has some good moments, but like
Yeah.
I don't think it should be rewarded to quite the extreme that Joaquin takes it.
Right. Well, I do think it's commendable as an actor, right? When you get into a character and you achieve that role and you're so invested and interested in it that you're like you're part of the character and the character's part of you in a way. It's definitely commendable and it deserves praise and it deserves accolades and stuff, and it's I just it's a dangerous place to be in if you're there too long because you start to lose sight of what's actually kind of, your job and your regular process because you're so focused and like just tunnel vision on what you should be doing. But yeah, strengths and weaknesses for sure. Good for him, and I hope he enjoys retirement. If this is truly the end, I don't know. I feel like Joker 3 comes around. There might be a bill.
Could be right. Anyway, thank you, my friend.
Yeah, that's it for us.
It was great to have you on here on this first episode of your show without Gary.
Yeah. 105.
105, episode 105. Can you imagine? Can you believe that man did 104 episodes straight?
Right. We should
Sickness in health till death do us part.
We should do the next 104 by ourselves.
Yeah, we should.
And like.
Well, we can. I mean, we moved the studio and we.
Right. We're in my basement right now.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I'll go back in there and press buttons for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. And we did talk about movies the entire time.
We talked about movies the entire time.
Yeah,
that's just a bit of a preview what you can expect if you check out the viewing room on all the Dufferin Avenue Media Network platforms. Once again, the Elmwood Fall Feast, you can check that out September 19th at Prairieland Park. It's a great fundraiser for the folks over there at Elmwood. I believe they focus on like transportation and stuff like that. I'm not exactly sure what all they do over there, but it's a great cause. And elmwoodyxe.ca to get your tickets. So that's the Thursday edition of your show, and we're going to be finishing it up here shortly. But the last thing, the riders, you know me for my rider debriefs on here. So the Banjo Bowl is Saturday, September 7th. That's this Saturday at 2 p.m. It's an early game, which is rare for the riders. So we'll be watching that. You'll hear me here on Monday with the debrief. It's looking like it'll be a good game, I'm hoping. We'll see. It's the Riders, so you never know. And it's a road game, so it'll be tough. But let's get some Frankie's Fingers going. I can't hear it because I forgot to put an earpiece in. So you give me a thumbs up when it's going. Frankie's Fingers, Frankie's Fingers, Frankie's Fingers. Dragging on the ones and twos. I didn't give him enough time. All right, sounds like we got it rolling. So again, the Riders play September 7th. Check out the Elmwood Fall Feast, new All Outta Angst podcast and Dude podcast dropping today. Thank you, Dragon, for coming on here with me and we're talking about movies and all that good stuff. Again, a little preview of what you can see on the viewing room. Check out Coliseum Presents. ColiseumPresents.ca, I believe, is their website. And they've got Wayne's World playing tomorrow, September 6th, at the Roxy Theater at 7 p.m. You will see Ethan and I there. And then you can catch our review after that on the viewing room. I've got to try and end this here as Gary does. Karma is very real, and we'll see you all later.